right.
Oh. Okay. So go ahead now.
All right. So hello everyone. It is my real pleasure to be with you this evening to talk a little bit about the development communication immersion in Colombia coming up this summer. Can everybody hear me? I'm Dr. Schlossberg. You can call me Dr. P. Can everybody hear me, first of all?
I can hear you.
Great. Okay, and who was that?
Kyle Denton.
Okay, hi Kyle. Great. So Kyle is here. Who else? Blythe, you can hear me? How about Amanda and Josh? AJ. Okay, so we have a few people. Can everyone? Is there anybody who can't hear me? If you can't hear me, you can't hear me, obviously. Then let me do it as a chat. I just want to make sure.
No, Blythe can hear you. And if you're having any technical difficulties, feel free to call Margaret. She's in the office right now, so. Oh.
As long as you can hear us okay once. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Welcome back, Anthony. All right.
Terrific. So I'm glad we're all on, and I would actually would love it if everybody could just take one quick moment. Maybe we can start with AJ, then Amanda, then Blythe, and Josh, and then Anthony, to just quickly kind of introduce yourself, mention which program you're in, how far along are you, and if you've done any immersions through Gonzaga or not.
They might not have a microphone.
All right, so
Amanda.
Okay, Amanda. Whoever's able to do it. If you don't have a microphone, that's fine.
Okay, this is silence here, so I'll go for it. This is
Okay.
Kyle Denton.
Yes. Hi. So, which program are you in, Kyle?
Org leadership.
Great, great. How far along are you?
So I just started my second semester, just did 605, the immersion on campus, Imagine, Create, Lead. Really good experience. They talked about a lot of the different immersion opportunities, a little more detail. Initially, that was one of the reasons that drew me to Gonzaga's program.
Terrific.
Is that experiential learning where you can really build those relationships with people and learn new things by doing.
Great. Terrific, terrific. Well, this immersion has a lot of those components for sure. Anyone who else has a microphone and able to introduce themselves right now?
Okay.
Wasn't working.
Oh, there. Oh, thank you, Amanda, for letting us know. Sorry we lost that. Glad to see you're in the COMEL program.
Wow.
Okay, awesome. So, well, thanks for being here, even if you don't have a microphone.
Yeah.
So.
And in that context, we will to move along. I will jump into the presentation. I'm really excited to be here with you to discuss the program. I did an immersion with a group of students this past summer. It was a wonderful experience for me. I think it was a great experience for the students and for our partners. So I'm very excited to discuss the experience in the context of the global leadership concentration, but just kind of as an experience on its own as well. And the course that will be offered this time will be Development Communication in Colombia. I will tell you it's a course that's eligible for the Global Leadership Concentration, which requires a study abroad immersion. And one of the major options, of course, is doing the work in Colombia, and I will say more about it. And the course itself will be a hybrid course. A very important component will be the field work we do over a period of 10 days down in Cali, Colombia, but also there will be components before and after to kind of work through get some of the basic tools we'll be working with. So we have some preparation before we do the work on the ground with our partner. I'll mention them more in a little bit. But also afterwards, opportunities to work on a final project, do some reflection work together through video conferences such as this one. And of course, there will be a Blackboard site to support the work as well. As I mentioned, the course is scheduled for summer semester 2017. Right now, possible dates are still to be confirmed would be around May 28th till about June 10th, within that 2-week span. That's one likely set of target dates. The picture here, by the way, is one of the coffee farms just outside of Cali, Colombia. It's the Valle de Cauca, and it's a really beautiful region. You're at a couple thousand feet. You're close to the equator as well. It's tropical, subtropical, but the heat is definitely a little, it's not as hot and humid as it would be, say, at sea level. So it's quite, the temperature and the climate is actually quite agreeable, and most of the lodgings we have are air conditioned as well. So since I've, and some of these sites are literally within an hour or two drive outside of Cali, Colombia, where we will be. So since I've done the immersion already and have had a couple of trips down to Colombia, as we get to the photos, I'll mention a couple of those details as well. In Cali, Colombia, we will be working in partnership with a Jesuit university there called Javeriana. And that university is about the size of Gonzaga. This is kind of an overhead view of the campus. We'll be meeting various faculty, various service and support folks there. They're a wonderful institution, great hospitality, of course, connected and united with us in terms of the Jesuit Catholic mission and context for teaching. And so that's part of, that informs the service learning component. These concepts such as men and women for other, working with the community partners. I'll say a little bit more about that, but the development communication course is very much informed by this idea of recognition of equal dignity of each and every person. And our purpose in a kind of a very general way is kind of working across borders in common projects of mutual empowerment. And this work exists in the context of the Social Responsibility Office at Javeriana as well. The course itself, the Development Communication course, emphasizes face-to-face as well as the use of various digital communication tools and other technologies, a context of classroom instruction, some things we'll read, some practical work with some of the tools, but most importantly, practical training and engagement with a partner on the ground, and that work in the surface of community development needs, and to think about how we can work collaboratively to help support local community institutions to build up local community capacity and empowerment. And that's kind of the local context. But of course, these are also very portable skills into many other contexts, both for work, international work, NGOs, business sector, government, other contexts, and also there's all kinds of, from community engagement to business to other things, that this type of work is really relevant to working domestically as well. I want to mention the actual community partner right now. So we're working with Javeriana, which is the Jesuit university, but the community partner is also a Jesuit organization called Fe en Alegría. which means, translated from Spanish to English, as faith and happiness, or joy, actually. And you might see, hopefully, through the PowerPoint, a little bit about the point and purpose of it. It's an international movement of popular education and social promotion based on the values of justice, participation, fraternity, respect for diversity, and solidarity. So working with impoverished and excluded populations in order to contribute to the transformation of society. And so we'll be working with this organization on a project on the ground, working directly with some of the youths that they're engaged in, working with in relation to face-to-face communication, relation with other technologies as well, to help develop a project that is sort of engages some of the local people that we can work in partnership to get to solve concrete local issues and problems and things like that. It's a really kind of engaging, immersive context. Here are pictures from this previous summer from some of the work we did, some of the young folks we worked with. This is one of the Fe en Alegría schools, and you have pictures here of some of the students interacting with some of the young people and some of the activities we were involved in, and we're trying to help develop and organize some of the cultural programming and develop a newsletter by this youth network. And these are often young people kind of from the internally displaced. There was until recently a fair amount of warfare in Colombia, in rural areas. Nothing that'll touch or pertain or is relevant to Cali or what's happening right now. So nothing to worry about. But you have a lot of internally displaced individuals. And so these are kind of community-based projects through Fe en Alegría and Javeriana University to help help them engage with them in terms of kind of developing the cultural projects and work with the young people in their own kind of voice. So these are pictures of the staff at the school or community partners. The left image, and they're a very sort of warm, collaborative group. And in fact, the one on the left is a staff meeting, and they're sort of celebrating birthdays. And part of what they do, and this is very common in Colombia, is they're actually kind of serenading the person who has the birthday. And they're singing various songs, and various staff members who choose will do that. And it's just kind of a joyous and fun event. And on the right is actually a picture of me with two of the staff members, including one of the directors. So there's a real sort of a genuine kind of connection, bond, and that's kind of one of the wonderful aspects of it as well. A little bit about what the day-to-day experience will look like. We will visit and work with a community partner. Those are typically for half-day, organized at various events. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to engage with the young people, work with Fe en Alegría, do different types of projects. I mean, we'll obviously have developing specific goals in that context. And we will go and have those kind of engagements most days. Occasionally there's a day where we will do just work ourselves as a group, or have an organized activity or tour as well to kind of complement that. So beyond working with a community partner, there's also classroom instruction, not every day, but there will be some sessions to kind of supplement the work we do from local faculty who are involved in working in the community, so we get their perspectives and insights, and those are typically 2-hour sessions, kind of what a session in a campus graduate class would be like. And so there'll be a couple of those sessions as well, of course. Obviously, together we'll be doing some group work, group reflections, working on the projects together. Also, there'll be, this is one of the great parts, it's also various organized cultural activities and tours, and there's definitely opportunities for free time as well, and we'll sometimes use that time to go to the mall, to go to dinner at a restaurant, to do our own cooking, although meals are provided, but there are opportunities to do that as well should we choose to, and just to have our own free time. But we did a lot of things collaboratively, and went out to salsa club. Salsa's really big in Cali as well. So there's a lot of really great opportunities. There's beautiful nature parks, museums, churches, all kinds of things. The city center is really interesting. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to do that sort of thing as well. A little bit about the logistics and the housing. One of the options, we will have housing. One of the options is Via Javeriana. I've stayed there before. It's right on the campus of the university. Cooking and laundry is provided. You have your own personal room. Potentially, we might be at a different housing, but it'll be a very, very comparable type of option, and we will you will have your own space, but there'll also be a common space, and we'll have classroom space where we can work together as well, and it'll be convenient and accessible. The course itself will be taught in English. We'll have translators. I'm quite fluent in Spanish, which is helpful as well. And there will be partners from the university working with us who will also do some of the translation. So we will be fine. That hasn't been a problem, but really more of an opportunity. Here's a little bit, some basic information about tuition and fees. So the tuition is $2,931. There's also a study abroad fee of $440. That includes accommodation, most meals. Again, there are some additional meals we have done, like you go, try some meals, kind of off of the meal plan. It's kind of, a fun event. Local transportation and even some of the excursions to go outside the city are provided. Your insurance is provided. So really most costs are covered outside of the plane ticket, basically, with that, in the context of that cost. And and also I will, there's also a support structure here through Center for Global Engagement, through student services. We're very informed about stuff as well. So, any kinds of questions and concerns will be addressed. So as I mentioned, you are responsible for your own travel. This past summer, by coincidence, two of the students arrived together on basically the same flights, and then 3 went back to the airport together after the 2-week session was done. But there were a lot of options, and kind of depending where you are from Spokane, which is one of the more further removes. I mean, if you are strategic about it and actually have some flexibility too, you can get there in 12 hours, sometimes a more discounted fares or something like that. It could be 18, 20 hours. So you should give yourself like a day to travel, but it's relatively convenient and comfortable. Colombia has nice airports. You may be a layover in Panama. It's a nice, comfortable airport as well. Just because how these programs work, don't buy your tickets until you have the official confirmation that the program is a go. We need, and I don't anticipate this will be an issue, but we need 3 to 4 as a minimal enrollment. I will be there. I anticipate being there. We will obviously anticipate having more students than that. But you will hear well in advance that the program is a go, and I would encourage you to purchase the ticket at that point. The application, here are some deadlines. So there's a priority deadline of December 1st, 2016. There's a final deadline of January 15th, 2017. Obviously would encourage you to apply and submit your intent sooner rather than later. Right now, I don't anticipate any issues or problems with spots, but right now I'm the committed faculty member, so again, hasn't been an issue or question. But once it gets to 8, 10, 12, or 12 students, it's more that given the care you want and engagement with each person in the context, it becomes more than one individual faculty member can handle. So if we have a situation such as Brussels, there might also be a waiting list and something like that. So applying sooner and showing your commitment is better than waiting in that context, because I don't know if there'll be a second faculty member necessarily to accommodate more students. There is information here about also what's next, answers to question. You could go take a look into the links to the organizational leadership website, and the leadership, it is under leadership and accompaniment. That's a slightly different course, so we'll have information about the specific development communication course on. Emphasis is a little bit different, but which I mentioned. You could also apply, this is very important, apply to the program through the studyabroad.gonzaga.edu. That information is readily available on the website for the program to Columbia, and you can always follow up with me or student services if you need to be directed to any of those resources. So, and with a picture of a local coffee plant, and there are a lot of coffee farms all around Cali and the whole area, I'm going to pause here. I've mentioned some information. What I can't emphasize enough is, I think how wonderful this opportunity is. I think how meaningful the students who took this experience found it last time. I could, I think all the students, all of them are Orgel students. Matt Darnell, Nick Whittington, Melinda Smith would be happy to tell you more about their experiences as well. They've all mentioned, they'd be happy for me to mention their name in reference to the experience. So that's also a resource, potentially a reference for you if you have any questions. I'm certainly available for any questions. I would love to, see if you have any questions right now. I can answer, really the broad range of questions, talk about the experience, talk about the logistics, anything you'd like to talk about. All right, I'll stop here and see what folks think, or what questions you might have, or thoughts you might have.
Also, feel free to type your questions into the chat box as well if you do not have a microphone.
Yes.
Keeping an eye on it.
I'm doing my immersion on the focus and communicate. Okay.
This is AJ. To make myself heard now?
Yes, I can hear you, AJ. Absolutely.
Okay, sorry about that.
No.
I was just double checking. What do we know what projects we might be engaged in yet?
Yeah, that'll be it'll be working with. So I can tell you about the project that existed in the previous session, which was under accompaniment. So the focus was a little bit different, but it was basically some of the alumni and students were trying to organize themselves as a community-based group and trying to figure out what that would look like and things like that. So kind of trying to understand where the group was. We did some group interviews with them. Based on that, we did a presentation and some recommendations to Faye and Alegria and some of the young people. And what we suggested was organizing a newsletter, and we did the first example. We did the first version of the newsletter, and that's kind of now an ongoing project. So there's a lot of different things going on, and where things are now will be different than by the time it gets to May. Now, I will be down there in November, December, finalizing the actual project. It will be directly tied into using communication face-to-face and technologies to engage and assist the community, the Faye and Alegria partners. I don't have all the details about the concrete project. Those are the conversations that'll happen. It might be related to the bulletin. It might be something else. I mean, there's a part of what the goals of Faye and Alegria are is to help promote the organization, the projection of some of the young people and their activities at the regional, but also kind of national level. They're working with a lot of artist groups as well, folks from within the community. For example, pro-social hip hop and rap and fusion of other types of music. So supporting and promoting some of those acts in relation to the community. That could be a potential context. So, but it will be something what I can promise you is that you will certainly know well before the immersion itself. And and there will be reading and preparation geared to that. And at the same time, it'll be a really meaningful project that will allow us to kind of engage and interact with the local community.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, so I will take this. There's a couple questions down here about payment. So the upfront costs will be your deposits. So there is a $50 application fee, and then I believe the deposit is $500 right up front to secure your place in the program. The loans, I believe that needs to be upfront from you. However, I would recommend reaching out to financial aid regarding the specifics of that. I do believe that financial aid applies to the tuition, but definitely reach out to the financial aid office. Please feel free to call student services and we can connect you over there, and we'd be happy to get that figured out for you. But from what I understand, you will pay the deposits, and then as far as tuition goes, your financial aid should apply to that. But just to be sure, in your specific situation, definitely reach out to this financial aid office. So I hope that answers your question partially there. Any other, oh, yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let's see. Okay, so do you have, I know that that's kind of a two-part answer, so I know we have some sample syllabi in our office, but I'm sure that a more detailed response.
Yes, no, absolutely. I have the sample syllabi for the class that was taught last summer, and absolutely, I could send that. But there will be, within the next 2 weeks, there will be the syllabus, initial draft of the syllabus for the development communication course with the readings will be available, and I'm happy to send that to everybody on this list. The other thing I want to mention is that we do have a version of the final product and the presentation that the students made this past summer, so that I could also forward to you, and I'll forward it to student services, and that could be then forwarded from there as well, so you get a sense of the type of work that is done. The other thing I want to mention is that on the ground in Columbia, it'll be a lot of practical work. It'll be a lot of working within the community in a focused way, in a meaningful way. It will, opportunity for reflection as well. Some, there are aspects of the project can change over time, and that's part of, and part of what we're learning, what the skills are in relation to leadership and communication is understanding, the importance of flexibility, of adaptability in these, intercultural contexts. So that's also kind of, so the process itself is an important takeaway. Of course, the project and the end goal is really important, but I can't emphasize enough the importance of the experience and the immersion itself. That's a really huge component of it.
Any other questions in the chat box or?
I'll switch back and forth between chat and my phone.
Sure.
Just to stop. So that was a really fantastic response. I just have a curious question. What would you say are some defining aspects of the Cali immersion that would maybe sway some of us towards versus, say, Florence?
Yeah. Well, it's the goal. It's the goals. The experience is a very different one. Working in Cali, we learn how to stretch ourselves by engaging with a contemporary community that has lived through troubles and working, has not been in some ways, in terms of socioeconomic resources, a wealthy community, an opulent community, but where there's a lot of cultural and social wealth and resilience, and understanding how we can work in common towards a common group, understanding our interconnections and their relationships and our common humanity and common context. So there's a social justice component to the Cali, Colombia experience that is very different than I think kind of the historical context that you would get in Florence. And I haven't done the immersion in Florence. I've been in Florence 2-3 times in my life, so I have a context. It's just a very different experience with some very different goals, both incredibly rich, but rich in very different ways. Does that begin to address your question, or can I clarify?
Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I think it also
Thank
helps, and we'll get that syllabus from Dr. Schlossberg on that, but it helps to just kind of, I find reading the syllabi of both of them, kind of seeing what stands out to you more, or even what's more relevant to your work or your personal interests. But they both are really great experiences. So or you could, do both.
Yes.
But it's hard to kind of say in that sense, but we'll help you along the way, give you as much information as we can to kind of help you discern that and what program would be best for you. So send us an email and we will do our best to get you both of those syllabi as soon as possible, just so you can kind of start making your decision on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you guys have your emails on the presentation?
Actually, I don't believe we do, but, or did you put yours on?
I did not. I should have. That's an oversight.
So Kyle, what I'll do is once we're done here, I'll just send you Dr. Schlossberg's email, and I'll CC him on it, so if you guys want to have a further conversation about that, and just so you have that contact information. And we're just GU Online Student Services at gonzaga.edu, so I'm sure that we have plenty of emails in your Zag Mail inbox, so feel free to answer any one of them.
Let me make one other, and then I'll just very briefly, because as a follow-up, the context of Colombia is very interesting right now. As you may or may not know, there's a peace process that's kind of the peace agreement between a guerrilla group, the FARC, and the government that's sort of been signed recently. So this is kind of a peace-building process, and there's a lot of, both at the level of just kind of everyday life, the university, community work. There's a lot of very interesting conversations and work going on around, okay, well, kind of, we've been a kind of really divided, torn up society with actual, literally, not just disagreement, but violence for decades, for 50, 60 years, and we seem to be kind of emerging from this. And there's a real opportunity now to build something new, to kind of come together, to resolve things in a different way. And so it's just kind of, there's a real kind of ferment in Colombia, and these kind of discussions going on. People are trying to imagine, understand what kind of future they can build, and real kind of interest and kind of engagement in that. And so there's a chance to kind of be engaged in and experience something of that moment, working with young people, so it's kind of it's both a serious contact where you kind of come face to face with some real, poverty and challenging circumstances, but there's also some real hope and joy and some really great opportunities and some real warmth and some real power and strength in these organizations as well. So that's kind of another aspect of it that I think is in that context, and going, say, to Florence, again, great program, but it would just be a very different experience than that.
Wow, that sounds very human, very human. I guess that's the way I think it. So touching kind of on that geopolitical climate, I don't know if you'll know the answer to this. Are there currently any State Department travel status or advisories for Cali, Colombia in general?
Yeah, there are, and there have been. I think for Colombia in general, I'm not sure about Cali. It's good to kind of double check, but these are sort of like generic. So on one hand, there have been some of those advisories around Colombia, but at the same time, I can say that you are very safe in Cali, Colombia in the context of the program. Um,
So we recently, our office recently had a meeting with the study abroad office, and we were just kind of asking some questions on behalf of our students because we do know that that is a concern. And the study abroad office assured us that they aren't going to send any students somewhere they don't feel comfortable, and they do when you are abroad there. They are getting daily updates just on, and they're watching every website, the State Department. They have it all on lock. So you can just know that study abroad is thinking 5 steps ahead in this situation, and they are trying to send students to the safest. They're trying to put them in very safe situations, but always a great question. And if something did come up, things may change. The world's always changing, as we know, but they are keeping an eye on that. So it's nothing to be concerned about.
And kind of on a personal note, if I had any, just personally, first, I can say if I had any concerns around security issues, I would not only mention it, I would say no. I'd be the first one to say I don't think we can go ahead with this. It's not a responsibility I can. And I say that as somebody who has traveled around the world and been in conflict zones in my own work, and extensively traveled through Latin America, including personally through areas that are, let's say, not places you would bring students, and do this type of trip through. So I have, and again, there are a lot of resources, and the first and last thing we think about are these issues of safety and security. Our partners through Javeriana University are also incredibly responsible, and they have never had an incident in the decades that they have been hosting students from all over the world.
So I guess it's kind of a unique question. The reason I'm asking is I have to get approval to travel outside the United States based on security clearance.
Sure.
If I pay the deposit and apply, and I find out through my work that they do not feel that it's a location I can go to at this time, and it's kind of a weird situational kind of thing right there. Is there ways to address the deposit and all that?
So that's a really good question. So for very detailed explanation, I can give you kind of the broad overview. I would reach out to the study abroad office, and again, you can call us and we'll connect you over there. So past a certain point, so as soon as the program is deemed to go, every part of the tuition, every aspect, everything that you've paid immediately goes towards booking hotels, transportation. So that money is used up. So it depends. So what that refund situation looks like, and they do try their best to accommodate every student in a certain situation. But it kind of depends on if there's a student to take your place, if there's a wait list. But past a certain point, if there isn't another student to kind of take that spot, that money has already gone to the transportation and the food and the booking everything essentially. So again, it's kind of a case-by-case situation, but I know that they try to do their best in accommodating students. But if that's something that you can do as ahead of time as possible, I don't know what that situation looks like per se. But if you do need any assistance with that, give us a call and we'll be happy to do our best to get that to work out.
Okay, perfect. I think it's something where I just need to talk with my security officer ahead of time, right? Ahead of time, plan ahead before everything.
Yeah, and they should have soon as well, and more details will be coming out as we go along here. So if you just keep us in the loop, and we'll do the best we can to have it work out for everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions from anyone?
Do we get extra credit if we can speak Spanish?
Well, it's you will certainly, it would be welcomed, of course, not at all expected, but there will certainly be opportunities to use the language, and there will be roles that could be presented, and obviously kind of knowing that ahead of time that, hey, somebody has especially like an intermediate or advanced ability, we're thinking together and, talking to our partners, we will definitely figure out some great opportunities to utilize it in working, again, within the project and the group.
Never hurts.
Never hurts. Yeah.
Qué bueno. Gracias.
Perfecto, qué bien.
Thanks, Kyle. Any other questions for anyone? And feel free to email us. We'll be happy to get you more information. Always feel free to call our Student Services office. We are here 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the weekends. So if any time a question pops into your head, let us know and we'll be happy to walk you through it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, if there's not any more questions, we'll kind of wait here for a couple minutes, but we'll close off and say thank you for coming this evening. We're really excited about this trip, and great to have our own Dr. Schlossberg here to speak about it, so thank you to him as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor.
You got it. And, if any additional questions come up or, do let me know. I'm happy to answer it by email or set up a phone conversation, and, we can, talk in general or in detail. And I am just really excited about the opportunity and looking forward to it. Again, it's I let the students who took it last summer speak for themselves. It's been a lot of great things going on here. Love the opportunity to engage with students, but it's truly been one of the highlights for me is having the opportunity to have taught in that program down in Columbia last year with wonderful partners and wonderful folks, and really looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful evening. Student Services will be here for a couple more hours tonight, so if you come up with any questions or have any questions about your progression plan and how it relates to this program, please give us a call. Margaret and I will be here.
And thanks so much for your interest, and it's been great to connect with you and to get to know each of you a little bit.
Yeah. Well, have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.